You're gonna take over?
No, not take over. The border is just a passion of mine. And I hear so many people talk about what they would do, add technology, add boots on the ground, pay the National Guard, et cetera, et cetera. And none of that works. None of it works. One thing that earlier candidates said that they think the cartel is the only one making or is making money. Well, there's a whole stream of people making money in this country. Churches, NGOs, transportation companies, all that stuff. So, what is the solution that you think, I'll give it back to you, that you think is properly framed for the border?
Belt-fed weapons.
Because you can't just put boots on the ground. Because all they do is babysit the people and fund them, push them to the channels going up to.
Well, I disagree that it doesn't work, because you have to use all the variables, okay? Well, because we're not done. I mean, look what Trump did. Look what Trump did. When Trump started building the wall, and he said, we're going to capture you and we're sending you right back. That policy, we didn't have this issue that we're having today. But once the wall's finished, and once we're sending them back, we create good policy. And, okay, to your point, I understand what they're saying. On some of these, like, Catholic charities and some of these other organizations that are making a lot, millions off this. So what you do, so associations, which Prayer sits on, you gotta have, again, you gotta have somebody in there that's a strong Christian and doesn't fold to political pressure and sells his soul for that. Because let me tell you, Cuellar has given money to different organizations because of, I'm going to pat your back, you're going to pat mine. Mm-hmm. And I truly believe that that's why he's in the situation he's in, the FBI raided his location. Because I'm going to tell you this right now, when I worked in the Secret Service, and I tell these people, I was interviewed by the newspaper the other day, you cannot get a warrant on a federal case unless you have your T's crossed and your I's dotted. I mean, I worked there and for 8 years with the federal prosecutors in the Western District of Texas, and I would go there and they would almost have, the case would almost have to be wrapped up with a bow, just the bow not tied yet, for them to issue a warrant. So, I know I'm going off course, but my answer to that is there's several variables. The law, technology, not one thing's going to work, correct, but also start not funding these organizations that are making millions from this issue, because we're not doing everything to prevent it. Oh yeah, well, all of them. All of them.
These buses that are hauling kids all over the United States, how can they not stop them as soon as, like, when they're heading through Texas? If you know you got a busload of illegals, why can they not stop that bus?
The buses are being driven by, you're talking about the government. So the government's driving the buses.
Private buses,
Well, but the government's providing funding for the private buses. That's the problem.
why can't local authorities stop that bus?
Well, when they're capturing now, they're getting them for criminal trespass. But there's only so much they can do, right? I mean, nationwide, people are short-staffed with law enforcement. Nationwide, it's a nationwide issue because of the whole defunding movement and all those other things going on.
So what does boots on the ground mean?
Boots on the ground is giving more funding to law enforcement officers to get more, whether it's police officers or federal agents on the ground to provide protection to the community. Because when there's no protection, there's no prosperity.
You don't think but I think they need more than boots.
Yeah.
Well, the boots on the ground is the figure of speech to say manpower, right? But that includes training and equipment and everything else that goes
Will
on.
they have weapons and will they be allowed to use them?
I'm sorry?
Will they have weapons and will they be allowed to?
Oh yeah, well of course that's why I said.
Right now they're not.
Well, that's why I said training. Well, that's what the left has done is they handcuff law enforcement officers to be able to do their job. Because what happens when they do their job, then they're crucified for doing their job. They're thrown in the bus and say, well, we're going to hold you accountable. Yet they were justified for the actions to begin with. But because of the optics, they throw them onto the bus and wipe their hands from it.
So, rules of engagement on Operation Lone Star have been set by our Republican government.
Exactly.
By our Republican government. Rules of engagement are catch them, sending the border patrol pushes them up. They follow them through. I've been on the border for 6 years. He is exactly right. None of this is working. Our foreign aid actually goes to Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, pays for the corruption. Those people leave and they come up here because of the NGOs, because it's $4,000, as long as Catholic Charities spends $200 per person. None of this is working. It's no longer a federal issue, it's a state issue.
Well, I agree with you, but let me ask you this. Did you not see the progress Trump did?
We still,
Did you not see the progress Trump did?
No, I didn't see the progress Trump did.
Okay, so...
Hey, excuse me, well, I was physically there.
No, I'm not going to argue with
From
you.
Guatemala to
I'm not arguing with you, but you can look at, I'm not being subjective, I'm being objective. Look at the data. Look at the data from when Trump was in office, his policies, and building the wall, and look at the data now. There's a huge difference. For you to say that there's no difference is not being truthful, though.
Roma, Texas does not have a wall.
Look at
Laredo does not have a wall.
Okay, you're right, but look at the data. All I'm saying is look at the data from the policies and the procedures. There's a big difference from Biden to Trump in terms of people coming across the border.
But remain in Mexico is working.
Right.
I pray to God that in 2022 there's a massive change in this country. In 2024 there's even bigger change.
Yes.
But one thing I have not heard any of the candidates address is what happens to the 2 to 4 to 6 million people that are in this country illegally, that have got passes all over the place.
What are all of you?
What are the candidates going to do? Just really quick. Just to stop.
Well, the question was prioritized, right? I mean, so the question was prioritized. So removing them from the United States before we can secure the United States, it doesn't make any sense. So prioritize is getting the border wall done, whether it's technology, boots on the ground, more equipment, defunding these non-profit organizations through appropriations, strangling them financially. All of those variables need to come together. Then, once we get it secure, then we can come in and start removing those who are not here legally.
Okay, get Sandra.
Okay, hold on. I was the only candidate that did not get to speak on the border issues. So if I may just have 1 second, I have a little bit of an upper hand on my opponents here because I actually live in Laredo. I've been working with the Border Patrol agents for 13 years, so I don't have to start working with them and I don't have to find out information. I know it firsthand, and not because my husband is an agent, because I've actively worked with the chiefs and the sector patrols and everything else. I've been called in by state reps for my opinion because I've actively been serving, if you will, on the border. So this is not a new conversation for me. Many of you guys have heard me speak on the border situation, how we can stop it. It's more than just boots on the ground, which we desperately need, but we also have to have the funding to be able to get them. And we have to have better recruitment to be able to get Border Patrol agents. But part of the problem with not being able to get more Border Patrol agents is because the Border Patrol union keeps actually harming the recruitment process and the agents, so we don't have good retention and we're losing them because they're being forced to get vaccines that they should not be being forced to get because it was never a requirement for when they got their job in the first place. So we have to have more context before we can start saying about what we need to do. Now the other side to this, to answer Stan's question a little bit more directly, is that and somebody else had made a comment about the buses. So let's have some real conversations and some context with all of that. So the reason that they are being bused all over the United States of America is because of failed policies thanks to President Biden. But the problem is that they are now here legally as soon as Border Patrol puts them on those buses. That is the policy of the Biden administration. That is the smoke and mirrors that was happening before Trump came into office, but it was also still happening when Trump was in office. The second they are released from Border Patrol, these charities, like Catholic Charities, which you guys hear so much about, and several others, it's not just the Catholic Charities, they have an unspoken contract, so everybody sees this, with these groups. So instead of having town square full with 5,000-6,000 people in the middle of downtown Laredo, where I live, Catholic Charities comes and says, here, let me get these people off of the streets because Mr. Mayor in Laredo, the mayor signs, they're pooping in the drains, they're leaving their stuff everywhere. Let me help you, help me help you, help me help you, right? So, oh, this is a great idea. So now the cities are involved with it also, because now the cities are not having to pay for these people who are living on the streets. So it's a huge cycle that's being cycled all the way through, that we're not dealing with any of the problems. Now, the way that we get rid of the people, exactly what Stan's question is, how do we get rid of the millions of people that are in our country illegally, even though they are legally here by the time that Border Patrol releases them? The way that we do that is we give ICE the ability to actually do their jobs.
Yes.
How do we give them that ability? We quit making policies. Policies are strangling our federal government. Policies are strangling our federal law enforcement to prevent them from doing their jobs. It doesn't matter if it's Border Patrol, it doesn't matter if it's ICE, it doesn't matter if it's the FBI, it doesn't matter if it's any of these other organizations. Policies are trumping laws, which is exactly the same thing that we're seeing with these mandates and everything else. We've got to strip the policies, we've got to strip the mandates, we've got to strip the being nice, give some teeth to our agents to allow them to do their jobs. That's how we fix our border crisis. It has nothing to do with walls, it has nothing to do with technology, it has to do with giving our law enforcement the ability to do their jobs. That's what they were hired for.
So, yeah. Okay, yeah, so you have to let law enforcement do their job, like I said earlier, right? The Biden administration has let 2 million people come in through the border. They catch them, they release them, and now we're going to have to track them. And it's going to be a huge ordeal for us to do that. Now, the other thing is, you can't, I think you said automatic weapons, right? If someone engages our guys across the border, we should be able to engage back, plain and simple. Because if we don't have consequences for those people, they're going to continue to do it. I mean, plain and simple. And that's what's happening. They're just continuing and then, run free. And the other thing is, it's not just buses. If you guys have seen the news, they're flying people in the middle of the night to all red states. And that's what DeSantis, the Florida guy, he actually has a pair, and he's saying, all right, I'm going to fly all these people that landed in Florida, I'm going to push them up to Delaware. And that's when the Democratic Party was like, maybe we shouldn't send these people to Florida. What we need to do is do the same thing. And what's happening is, you guys remember the Afghanistan thing, right? All they did was, if you look at the group of people that were putting on C-5s and C-17s, which are the big planes, it was mainly all men, which is military-aged men. Very few women on those planes. And you can go back and look at the pictures. So what they're doing is, the middle of the night, they put all these people in the red states, and what they do is, the Democratic Party, I mean, you gotta give it to them, they're smart, they're playing the long game. What they're doing is they hook them on the government. So that way when come 2024, regardless of all of us conservatives and Republicans voting the way we want, all those people that they're hooked on the government, they're gonna say, hey, we brought you to America, we let you escape Afghanistan or Guatemala, wherever the hell you're from, now you gotta vote Democrat. And that's what's gonna happen. So the Republicans need to get stuck, they gotta get smart, gotta get some intestinal fortitude, and then start changing the law and then hammering the Democrats where we need to do it.
Okay, you all have questions for the candidates? Any more questions for these candidates?
You want me to say what I can on the border?
But let me get this first. So I'm just looking right now, 28, because that's most of the people represent.
District 28 is what these are all for.
Yes, you have a question?
Yes, Stan.
Okay. And then we'll.
Yeah, these last three candidates were District 28,
So to answer what.
which goes all over Laredo and San
I think
Antonio.
most of us in here would agree that we are in different times than has been around before. Whether it's 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 10, 20 years ago, this is a different landscape. And I guess my question to the candidates is that, are you willing to stir the water? Are you willing to get nailed to the wall? Are you willing to sacrifice your career for the sake of this country?
Well,
Because that's what it takes. Don't answer quickly. That's what it takes.
All right, think about it. I can tell you right now, I mean, politics is not getting shot at. I mean, there's going to be keyboard commandos out there talking crap about you, which, I mean, it happens regardless of what side you're on. But yeah, I mean, you want to engage? Yeah, send me in there. You know, I'm not sitting here, I mean, it's not combat, so. Yeah, 100%, I'm all about it. That's why I'm running, is because I got tired of sitting.
No one's going to like you.
That's fine. I got to be there for the state of Texas.
Just like I said earlier, I don't fear man. I just don't. And I'm not going to compromise who I am for any opportunity, any money, any position. I give a damn about title, position, stripes, stars on my collar. I don't care. I feel this is my purpose, and that's why I'm running.
So you go up against Tony Gonzalez.
I would go up against all the other rhinos out there. I mean, like I said, I answer to God, period. And I'm gonna do what's right. And when you do what's right, when you say what's right, there's consistency in it, and you never sway back and forth on what you say. And so I'm not a career politician. I'm not a political servant. I'm a public servant.
So, for those of you who have followed my Stanford for Texas page, specifically in the last couple of days, you know that Henry Cuellar's house was raided by the FBI. It's a title, right? What's really fun is that I was physically there. What I've been doing for the last 3 years that I've been a public figure is I have been calling out the corruption of our politicians. I've been calling out the corruption of the Cuellar family. In fact, when I decided to run in 2020, I was specifically asked why I didn't run for a lower office, and my response was because the corruption is so bad in Congressional District 28, specifically because of Webb County, that it's going to take the heat from the top to be able to do something about it all the way down to the bottom. And that's exactly what I promised I was going to do, and I've been doing that. Now, am I personally responsible for Congressman Cuellar's house getting raided by the FBI? No. But had I not been screaming from the top of my lungs for the last 3 years that this was a possibility, not just a possibility, but I was calling it all out, I was exposing the fact that he's in bed with his number one funder and donor, washes the money for all of the cartel in Mexico. Ooh. Yeah. These are the things that I'm willing to do. Now here's where it gets even deeper. Are you ready? It's not just me. I'm not just Sandra. Sandra has 4 children. Sandra has 4 children whose home is open to Mexico because my gated community that should make me feel super safe is literally on the river. My children know how to use our guns because they understand that Daddy's job is to lock up the bad guys, and my husband has had to have a protective detail around our house at the beginning of his career. My husband has 2 medals of value because of the things that he has done on the U.S.-Mexico border. And that's the exact reason why he cannot go visit his family in Mexico, because of the quality of the criminals that he's caught. Then you add Mom to the mix, who calls out the cartel every single day, who's been saying we need to designate them as a terrorist organization, and has been saying that the sheriff and his congressman's brother are in bed with the cartel. I'm not just putting an X on my chest, but I put the X on my 4 children's chest. And they tell me, Mom, fight harder. Because you're the only one who's exposing this, and you're the only one who's done anything about this. And you're the kind of fighter. It's okay that we don't have you at home anymore. So this is not just some checking list or something that I thought would be fun to do. I know the costs because I'm already experiencing the costs. There are police officers who are going past our house extra right now because of me being at Cuellar's house and me calling out his brother. I'm already fighting the cartel at my house because this is what our country needs somebody to stand up and do. And it's not just the cartel. I have called out Kevin McCarthy to his face in 2020. Yes. And I've even called out Ken Paxton, and I've called out the governor and the lieutenant governor, all to their faces. They are not my friends.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, sir, Mr. Jackson.
I would like to hear from each candidate how they're going to beat their Democratic opponent. Hey, that's a
Ooh.
Okay,
I don't want to hear any more about what the problems are. We all know what they are. I want
Yeah.
to hear how you guys are going to beat the Democratic candidates.
How are you going to beat the Democratic candidates? You know, actually, I can tell you something like that. Most of that's our job.
Get
Yeah.
out and vote, Jeff. That's
Yeah.
how we do it. Vote. We have
And get your friends to vote.
1.6 million people in Bexar County, and only about 400 to 500,000 will show up for election. So the way we make changes is get out and vote. I mean, look, as candidates, especially when you're going against someone like Cuellar, you have to raise a lot of money. People want the Democratic Party out, but it's hard as heck for us to raise money. And then also to educate the community of the issues, it takes money. But then the second thing, or the most important thing, is get out and vote. We need people to vote. You don't know how many Republicans I've heard tell me, well, this is a blue county, so why my vote doesn't count.
My
With
eye.
that mentality, that's why we're in the position we are at City Hall, and that's why we're in the position we are in the Commissioner's Court.
So can you tell us really quick who your, what your biggest contribution is and who your donors are?
Oh, I got 75 donors. I can't rattle them off. I mean, they're all small. They're $1,000, $400, $500, $25, $10. I mean, just
Your biggest is what I was asking.
it's probably $5,000.
From?
Oh, I don't have to look at my records, to be honest with you. I mean, as a congressional race, you can only raise $2,900 for each race. So the most you can raise in the primary from one person is $2,900, and then they give you another $2,900 in the general. So in a congressional race, you can't raise a lot of money. One person can't give you a whole lot of money.
I have a second question, and you can keep the mic. Some of you guys are competing for the same chair, I believe.
All three of us.
All three, okay. So all three of you, only one person is going to get it. So you guys have passion, heart, and you're striving towards a better America and for everyone. So what is your plan B, in a sense, to continue fighting if you don't get the chair that you're getting?
Well, so I've been in the public for 28 years. And I feel it's my purpose. Nothing's going to change. This position is not going to identify me. This position is an important job, though, but it's not going to identify me. I'm going to continue doing what I do, the scholarships I give, the nonprofits, the small businesses that I support. I respect democracy as long as it's not stolen, right? And not cheated. And not cheated. So to answer your question, whichever Republican wins the nomination, whichever the people vote for, I'm going to get behind. Because the goal is to flip the House and control it. This is, I'm not going to be ego, I'm not going to cry about it. If any of the other candidates win, I'm going to shift my weight behind them and get them to the finish line.
Amen.
So I'm gonna ask you a question. Do we have a democracy? No!
Okay, so this is a multi question. So the first question was how do we beat the Democrats? So here's what we do. We have to have you guys get out and vote, number one. But not just you personally, you have to make sure that you're telling people to go and vote. And if you need to say, hey, let me give you a right to go and vote, please go and vote. And the second thing that we have to do is make sure that we're also poll watchers and election judges and all those things. It's not just a one-step deal. You gotta do the whole thing, okay? So this is how we win. So it's not just one person. Willie was right. Everybody in this room has got to do your part and then some. Because freedom isn't free, neither are elections. We do have to have donors. We do. The second question was, who is your biggest donor? My biggest donor is actually in my district. She's a CPA. She owns an accounting firm in Laredo. She's not just given financially. She and her husband have max contributed for the primary. They will do it again for the general election. That is my biggest donor. After that, I have a group of patriots whose passion is the border up in Houston, and the next biggest contribution check is $2,500. Other than that, everything else has been $500 here, $100 here, $5, $10, $15, $20. All of my stuff is actually on my FEC website, or the FEC.gov, so I have transparent money, period. There's no question. Every single check that gets my John Hancock on the back and it goes into the bank. So, except for what comes in almond bread, because that's automatic. Then the last question was my plan B. So my plan B is exactly what it was after I won last time. I won the primary last time. I did not win the general last time, but I continue to advocate for what's going on. That's why I'm so involved in what's going on in the state, because I didn't stop. There's too much that we have to do across the state of Texas, and Willie's right. We have to make sure that this seat gets flipped, but what the priority is that we can't just vote Republican. We have to vote for the right Republican. There's a couple Republicans who have yet to show their face in this race, and y'all need to make note of that. And those couple of Republicans that have yet to show their face have the backing of Ted Cruz, for example. So it's not just we have to get a Republican in office, we have to get the right Republican in office, and we got to get a Republican in office who actually has lived in the district and knows the district and wants to fight for the district, not just get a seat because he didn't have anything else to do with his life because he's already retired from Wall Street. I'm sorry, is that a little direct?
Yeah, there's like 8 candidates in this district, this particular race, and this is only 3 of them. There's literally 8 of them.
Alright, anyways. So, what we need to win is, you know, it kind of sucks about Cuellar, because I really wanted to meet that dude in general, but, alright, but, you know, dude 65 to 66 years old, whatever he did, you know, you reap what you sow. I'm going to kick the guy away too. But now we got the AOC version 0.2 that's going to come out of there, and you're talking about money. That's what sucks about these elections. It's all money, and the more money, the more you can reach. And it's gotten bad. The forefathers didn't intend it that way. They intended regular people get their knowledge and experience, see what's going on, go up there, do their thing, and then come back and then hand the torch off. So now AOC number 2 is now the number 1 target. And whoever comes out of this primary from the Republican side, we all need to dive into that thing. And the only way we're going to beat her is everybody has to go out and vote, have to spread the word. We all have to unite together, because that's what's happening. They like to divide us, whether you guys see it or not. It's all the time. Every time there's an election, everybody gets divided. Whatever comes out of this primary, we have to go unite and take her out. Because I'm pretty sure she's probably going to get it, because the Democratic Party didn't want Cuellar anyways. Number 2, as far as what I'm going to do when Plan B, yes ma'am. So I was sitting at my desk when I decided to run for this office because of the way it's going down. So I was a combat controller in the Air Force, which I know a lot of people don't even know what that is, but I was Special Forces Air Force. I got 2 Bronze Stars, 1 with Valor, and I did a couple combat deployments. I got up, and what happened was, combat controllers, there's a lot of people that know who we are and what we do. We work with the SEALs, the SF guys, the coalition SOF, and once we leave the military, again, no one knows who the hell we are. And one of my buddies, my first supervisor in the Air Force, 6 months after he got out, he killed himself. So he committed suicide because the demons of war, he felt alone, he felt forgotten. And that just broke my heart. So I started the First Air Foundation. It's a nonprofit, and it's all about combat controllers. Because what I want to do is, I want the public, I'm not looking for the fame, I just want some recognition. You talk about the Bin Laden raid, Captain Phillips, Mogadishu, Black Hawk Down. There's been a combat controller there slinging hate and protecting that team with aircraft. And that's what I did, is shoot, move, communicate, and protect the team. So my nonprofit is to make sure the guys, after we get out, there's some recognition, there's an extended team room, and their families are also protected. Because if they don't, I don't want to bury another teammate. I don't know if any of you guys seen a casket with a folded flag, but it freaking sucks. And for you to go fight for 20 years and you come back and you do yourself in, there's something wrong with that, and it's mental health. And we got to take care of the veterans. Another thing I'm gonna do is make sure I keep advocating for my guys and vets that actually have seen some action. So that's my plan B then.
Okay, yes, sir. What?
How many candidates are running for 28?
7.
That's just Republicans, and 7 Republicans, and they were all invited, so.